Welcome to the show. I'm Edward St. Pé. Tonight we've got an icon with us. It's Mr. James Meredith, and yes, Mr. James Meredith still lives in Mississippi and in fact in the Jackson area. And I just wanted to mention his new book is out right now, and it's A Mission from God. And we're going to talk about the book, and we're going to talk about some of his experiences. I want to read the inside cover real quick. James Meredith engineered two of the most epic events of the American Civil Rights era: the desegregation of the University of Mississippi in 1962, which helped open the doors of education to all Americans, and the March Against Fear in 1966, which helped open the floodgates of voter registration in the South. Pretty big stuff. So we're going to talk to Mr. Meredith when we come back. He'll be with us for the entire show. So stay with us. This is Nightique here on Comcast 14 and JSU-TV. Welcome back to Nightique. We've got with us Mr. James Meredith. And Mr. James, thank you for being with us. I appreciate you taking the time to come. Well, the book, A Mission from God, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the book and about things in general. First off, I don't know where to begin. I mean, what was it, what are your memories of the whole desegregation of the University of Mississippi in 1962? What are your memories when you look back?
When you get old, a lot of things happen. And you forget a lot. You mentioned two things in the past. Saturday, I'm holding the first meeting of the Bible Society, which I plan to spend the rest of my life on God's mission. Getting as many people, as particularly black people in Mississippi, to read the Bible from cover to cover.
Do you think this would have an impact on society in general?
1,000 times more important than all that's happened in my lifetime.
When you think back over your lifetime, I mean, it's been a dramatic lifetime, a life story. I mean, considering the things that you've done and been involved in over these last many years. Do you look at it that way?
My God ain't happy with me because I haven't done my job. We have failed our young people, and we have a moral character breakdown, and I promised God if I kept living, we was going to fix that. And the principal thing, Mississippi, America is a Christian nation. Mississippi is the most Christian place in America. The blacks in Mississippi are the most Christian anywhere in the Christian world. But the majority really don't know what's in the Bible. and my God got me on a mission to change that.
So what is the plan? How will you institute the plan?
Every Saturday, hopefully in every county in the state of Mississippi, and we're starting this Saturday in Hinds County. From 10 to 12, we're going to have a Bible Society meeting where we read from the Bible and discuss religious issues, particularly education and morality.
Do you think this would straighten out the moral compass in the general public? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, somewhere in the Bible it says you should train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old he will not depart from it. A sheriff told me recently he'd been in the law business 27 years, and every black he arrests, not only they didn't know right from wrong, good from bad, nobody in the family knew. And that is a basic reality. And until we fix our moral character problem, nothing is going to go the way it should go.
When you look back over these many years, from 1962 to today, I know you're an alumni of Ole Miss, so I saw you at the football game.
Now, I saw JSU when I came in.
Right.
I went to JSU in 1960. And the only reason I didn't get a degree is because the same board that controlled Jackson State controlled Ole Miss. And anybody that got undergraduate degree from one could not go to another. So I had almost twice as many credits as I needed to graduate, but I didn't pay the $4 graduation fee so that I would remain eligible to go to Ole Miss.
What are your memories of that whole experience when you got there and through that whole...
Ole Miss or Jackson State?
Ole Miss.
My experiences were at Jackson State, not Ole Miss. Ole Miss was a plaything, and people need to understand that God don't make no mistakes. Before he sent Moses into the wilderness to lead the people, he had Moses in that same wilderness 40 years after he killed that Egyptian and had to run away. And he knew everything about that. When I went to Ole Miss, and most of the people who have written books, they just loved the picture where they took and they said I was sitting in the class by myself because all the white students got up and left. 10 years before that, I want to get it straight, 11 years before that, I was the first black assigned to a B-29 bomber squadron in the United States Air Force. And the first day I reported for work, they assigned me to a room on the second floor with the white airmen. When I got back from work, not only had he moved off the floor, every white on the floor, or everybody but me on the floor had moved off. So God had already prepared me for anything that I was going to face at Ole Miss. So to me, I was ahead the first day at Ole Miss because the teacher was there and he taught whatever it was he taught, and I was there and I learned whatever he taught. So I was the head of the whole class from the first day on.
When you think back to those times, back to the present time, what is your perspective on the progress that's been made in the area of civil rights in the state? Has there been progress?
Absolutely not. We have failed our young people. When I graduated from high school, every black with a high school diploma was qualified to go to some good college somewhere in America. Today, less than 1 out of 10 black that get a high school diploma can go to any college in America, including Jackson State and the other black colleges, because they don't make a high enough college entrance score. And that's a shame. And anybody call that progress, think different from me.
So yeah, that's a good point. Maybe in some areas there's been progress, but not in that area for sure.
In public integration, I'm talking about using the bathroom in the courthouse, riding on the bus anywhere there's an empty seat, and a few other things. But anybody that would talk about living situations, about school and education, and about the community situation. I mean, I read in the paper just yesterday that the black supervisor of the Hine County want to fire the black sheriff because to say he's running not running a prison properly. And he came back today and say, well, the fault ain't mine. The fault of the judges that are not processing the people. Now, it don't matter if both of them right, don't matter if both of them wrong. Our people are suffering. And anybody that talk about anything else is lying.
Well, we're going to continue the conversation with Mr. James Meredith, and his book is A Mission from God. It's available on Amazon.com and at bookstores, at book retailers. And we'll be back with more of the interview with Mr. James Meredith after these messages. Welcome back to the show. We're with Mr. James Meredith, and I'm happy to have him on our program. Mr. James, I see you at the gym all the time, and we're friends because we see each other at the gym at 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning.
And you be late.
Yeah, he's there already reading the newspaper by the time I get there. But you know, you haven't aged very much through the years. You still look young, and you still are in great shape. I mean, do you attribute it to the fact that you go to the gym every morning?
Looks are deceiving. I won't say anything else about that.
Now, during the break, we were talking about some of the interesting things that are going on in Mississippi. Some things in Mississippi are going very right up to the top, number one, such as the Mississippi football teams. Mississippi State and Ole Miss are both in the top 10 right now. Were you at the game? I think you were at one of the recent big wins, right?
Sure, yeah, I was at the, what they call it, game day?
Game day, yeah. How was it? How was that experience?
It was the most significant experience of my lifetime. Mississippi, in 1 week, moved from the bottom to the top. And everybody talk about Ole Miss and Mississippi State. But everything that made that happen was black. The only exception I think anybody can note was the Ole Miss quarterback wasn't black. I bet you can't nobody else think of nobody else except the coach himself, because all the assistant coaches were black.
How is it when you go to the game, when you go back to the campus, do you have recollections of the 1962 events that occurred when you first went to the school?
Look, everybody got the wrong conception about Ole Miss. James Meredith was the one doing the butt kicking in 1962. Anybody that lived in Oxford, if they lived 1 block from the store, from the grocery store, they had to get a permit, a pass from the military, and they were my military. This was the first time in American history that a military had been used to enforce the rights of a black. And everybody still telling people, and most of them gullible enough to believe it, that they was abusing James Meredith.
So when you go back there, do any of these memories of what happened weigh upon you or not?
The only way that it weigh upon me is that people are still getting it wrong. They still selling the idea that James Meredith was suffering. It was the white privilege that was suffering.
And as the Inside Flap mentioned, that whole event sparked a whole lot of changes
in the whole world, and particularly in America, and everybody's still lying about it. And I promised God 2 things. I wasn't going to lie no more, and I wasn't going to judge. And he said he had an answer for that. Just tell the truth. The truth ain't lying, and the truth ain't judging.
Some of the people through the many years that we're talking about, the span of years, Martin Luther King, I'm sure you probably, through the years, you met him, and what are your recollections of him?
That his idea was totally wrong. I'm a military man. It was military. It was organized violence that got me in Ole Miss. Nonviolence is the most un-American idea ever been presented. And to put blacks in the position to have to use a different means of getting their rights and privileges was wrong. It was wrong then, and it's wrong now.
So what is your answer to that? How should it be?
Number one is the moral character. That is what is wrong with Mississippi today. And I might not can do nothing, but I promise God that whatever time I got left, that's what I'm going to spend my time trying to straighten out.
You know, in the book, one of the things that I found interesting was the fact that some of your relatives, of course, were white. Can we talk about that?
At least half of them.
So let's talk about that. I mean, back 50 years ago and earlier, was that a normal thing out in the...
It was more than a normal thing. When I went to Jackson State in 1960, I won't talk about Jackson State because I got to live in Mississippi. When I went to Jackson State in 1960, Howard University was also a black school. The only way you could get in Howard University is your skin had to be lighter than a brown paper bag. That only got you consideration. That didn't get you in.
So there was if you were a light-skinned black, that was something that helped you.
You know, I promised God I wasn't going to judge no more, so I'm just going to stay silent on that.
So, but I'm assuming the answer is yes to that question.
But you understand, the real problem, particularly with Mississippi, is we've been living the lie. We've been perpetuating a lie and celebrating a dream. And in the meantime, our morality is broken completely down. And we got to straighten it out.
It seems like it's a great idea if one can find a way to implement that.
And my God tells me, all your life, James Meredith, you've been out here trying to do my job, trying to be the big man. So if you really want to be important, just figure out the little thing I want you to do, and you do that little thing, and me and the rest of the world will do the rest. And it's clear to me now, the little thing is to get the black people in Mississippi to read the Bible from cover to cover.
Do you see any particular area going forward where Mississippi can achieve greatness? You and I talk sometimes.
I predict that in 5 years, Mississippi will lead the world. Definitely, it will be number one. And particularly with this black, white, rich, poor issue, Mississippi gonna be at the top for sure.
I know we talk about it from time to time, and so you've got great hopes for the state going forward.
Yeah, I promised God I wasn't going to judge no more. And to answer that would require judgment.
I think I know the answer, and I think the answer is yes, that's what you believe.
I absolutely believe that Mississippi is best equipped to solve the problems that exist in our society. All we got to do is stop lying. Everybody know the truth and act like they don't. Ain't nobody don't know the truth of what's happening with our school system, and all they I can't judge, but I just absolutely believe Mississippi gonna straighten it all out.
Well, Mr. James, thank you for being with us today on the program. And the book is A Mission from God. You can get it at bookstores and also on Amazon, and that's Mr. James Meredith. Thank you for being with us. It's a pleasure to see you tonight. And we'll be right back with more after this message.
Since 1849, Carter Jewelers has been a part of Jackson's rich history. Over 163 years later, we've not only survived, Carter Jewelers has flourished. From generation to generation, we've established a tradition of excellence. Our reputation is built on customer satisfaction, service, and trust. Every piece of jewelry is handpicked, so you know you're getting the best value.
Nobody says I do like we do at Carter Jewelers.
Come see us and be part of our history.
Well, tonight we've spent the half hour with Mr. James Meredith, and we've talked about his book, which is A Mission from God, which is available at bookstores and on Amazon.com. I guess through these last months, over the last year, you've traveled to promote the book around the country, haven't you, Mr. Meredith?
Really, I promised God I was going to go to all 82 counties and discuss our problems and our issues, and of course the book. I mean, last year I spoke to Harvard's graduation, and the reason that they said in the letter that they invited me was because they read that book, and the last chapter is about what we need to do to straighten out our public education in America. And they said they thought there are 800 graduates, PhDs, and masters needed to hear that.
How was that experience speaking to Harvard?
When I told them the truth about my mission from God, it took 2 minutes before they settled down where I could finish the talk. They didn't want to hear nothing about God, and that's getting to be the case in a lot of places. Well,
they're winding me up in there, and on that note, we're going to end the conversation. Thank you again, Mr. James, for being with us. And thank you for being with us on Nightique, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.